everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Shanti, and in this video I will be giving my breakdown of Inmate to Roommate, episode 4, featuring David and Aaron. Now, in the last episode, it ended with the guys having breakfast and establishing some ground rules and boundaries. And the fact that Aaron didn't have a lease came up in the conversation, and David said that's like that on purpose. I guess he wants to see how they get along and things like that before he moves to a more permanent situation, I guess. But either way, I don't know if I guess Aaron didn't like that too much. And it kind of seemed like he was kind of like passive aggressively threatening David by saying things, well, you know, you better not put me out or we'll become enemies or I might have to burn your house down. Now, I'm paraphrasing, but he actually did say those things, but I'm just kind of paraphrasing. So now let's jump into episode 4. It has been 2 weeks since Aaron has been released from prison. He and David are heading out to the lake to do some kayaking. David said he thought it would be a good idea to get out there on the lake so they can try to get to know each other. On the car ride, Aaron points out to random locations and says that he used to sell drugs right there, and that was a long time ago. He said he would just park his car and just meet people there. And he kept emphasizing how it was years and years ago, but in reality, it was probably just a couple of years ago, I guess, before he got locked up for this last bid he just did. He told producers that it was surreal driving down those streets because he used to hang out and do drugs or sell drugs on those same streets. He said that he got arrested one time for selling to an undercover cop, and he was sentenced to 158 months, but they allowed him to go to treatment instead. And a few years later, he relapsed and they sent him to prison. He then got out of prison and was released to a boot camp program, but he ended up violating again. So he had to go back to prison to finish out the rest of his sentence. And he just got out and moved right into David's home from all of that. They get to the lake and onto the paddle boat. Aaron says that the lake is nice and he enjoys being on the water. So while they are paddling and taking in the scenery, David decides to tell Aaron how he started working with prison reform and all of that stuff. He said it's funny, and here we go. He says that in Minneapolis, everyone thinks of themselves as not being racist. But he says he was incredibly racist.
Like in Minneapolis, everybody thinks of themselves as not being racist. But I was incredibly racist.
So David just admits to being a former racist. Aaron looks surprised to hear David say that. I'm surprised that he came out and said that too. I wasn't expecting that. But he said he was a liberal racist, meaning that they are all for the rights of Black people, but just as long as they are not in the same spaces. David said he got into organizing and prison reform to liberate himself from that kind of thinking. Now, Aaron has a few questions and concerns for David, of course, after hearing that this man is a former racist. He wants to know if he suffers from white guilt, and if he is allowing him to stay with him because he's feeling guilty, and he's looking at Aaron as the sad victim Black boy. I'm paraphrasing. David assures him that that's not the case. Aaron asks him if his family knows about him taking in ex-prisoners, and David said they know about it and they are cool with it. And, I guess they had issues with David doing this before, but I think he said it's been like 20 years since he first started doing this. So all that stuff is kind of like out the window. David told producers that he grew up in an anti-racist household for the most part. But as he got older and began to experience real life, he realized that other people, including himself, were still operating in a somewhat racist way. Aaron asked David if he is still racist, and David said, not really.
I doubt it, but I mean, you're not still racist.
I mean, no.
What? What do you mean not really? Either you are or you're not. David's just really creepy to me. But anyway, and then David went on to say that he's still learning and unlearning old behavior and the things that he was taught, I guess. Aaron said to producers that it's just kind of crazy how far David has come. He went from being a racist to now he has a black man living in his house with him. He said that's progress, but is David still a little racist? He's questioning, like, is he still kind of racist? I don't know. When Aaron asked David if he was still racist, and David was like, not really, or he kind of hesitated. He didn't come right out and say, oh, no, not at all. He kind of hesitated, and so I'm side-eyeing him on that one. But, their scene in this episode was really quick. They only had this one scene, and whoa, I wasn't expecting David to come out and say anything like that. He must have been a pretty hardcore racist for him to come out and admit that to the world and admit it to Aaron, who is a black man who just got out of prison. But, hey, he said that is his past and he is no longer racist. And now he's trying to give back and help people, and working with prisoners and all that stuff is part of his way of redeeming himself and giving back, I guess. But to me, David is kind of a peculiar guy. He certainly is a different one. And like Aaron keeps mentioning throughout the show, what are David's real intentions? What's really going on here? But what do you guys think about David coming out admitting to be a racist or a former racist? Do you feel like he has any ill intentions towards Aaron? Do you think he is not racist anymore, or maybe he still is? Why do you think he hesitated when Aaron asked him if he was still racist? Like, that was weird. But I don't know. David is a little off to me. There's something about him. I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something quite not right about him. But anyway, you guys get in the comments. Let me know what you think. Please give me a like and subscribe if you want, or at least just come back and check me out. But until next time, I will chat with y'all later.